play that straight away. As you said, the first little bit will take time to figure a few meals, and even as Chris said the other night, you might have a few staple meals, whether it is like a brekkie meal,
one whole meal, guys.
or even if you guys wanted to do like a healthy pizzas every Friday night. Once you sort it out and we figure out, like we said, we can plug it in my fist. Once that's saved, you know exactly how many calories it is, and then all the macro breakdown of it as well. So then you don't even have to think; you can just buy all the ingredients and then go.
And you can kind of like just like it is also like overweight. It can be roughly. So like yes, if you look at the wrap and the wrappy, so we know that like this is 350 calories. Wraps are not 350 calories. Wraps are about 180. Only if you get at one. So you could sort that, and we have less carb content and the same amount of fiber, if not more. So you less calories there. So that if you added in things like cheese or like a sauce, or it would always even out. Plus, none of you are really kind of that low. So you've got 150 calories to make up from sauces to different things, and like with like your cheese and stuff, you can kind of like put them in there and figure it out. So do you see? And like with mince, you can make like tacos. So the actual tacos, you have like 3 or 4 tacos. I don't know them off by heart, but they're not that high. So you could like instead of the rice, you could have 3 or 4 tacos, but you just want to make sure you're having like the entire amount. Like that's 300 grams of meat, which isn't too like the same amount. So it might be like you kind of got to fill your tacos to the brim full of meat, and then you can kind of like your salad around it. It's kind of like I don't know where I just pick it up and just put it in my mouth. Like the spinach is like so
you fill up the taco, then you put a wrap underneath it, and then all the spillings you then just wrap it up.
That's the man. You know what he's doing right there.
You don't lose anything at the bottom anymore.
And every time you just wrap up the next one.
If say you did swap it out for a wrap, and so you had less carbs.
Yep.
Could you up your protein, like have more chicken?
Yeah, so absolutely. But I mean, yeah, great, awesome. But I mean, that's already like a fair bit in that one wrap. And then you could have it could be like with something else. So like breakfast, you might want to have 3 eggs.
Yeah.
So it doesn't be within that meal. You can kind of throughout your day, but you can see how you can all this. And this is like things that are nice. Like who likes bacon? If you don't like bacon, that's like okay. Jeez. So think about like 2 pieces of toast, 2 eggs on it, some bacon, whatever. Okay, so I would like to see. These are 4 rashers of like the top bit with that tiny. Like, I feel ripped off when I go to cafes and they just give me without the fat.
Yeah.
I want the fat of the bacon, but this is like just the top rashers. But you could like remove. So we'll talk about my fitness pals soon, but you can remove 4 and make 2 and have 2 kind of full rashers. Kind of thing, do you know what I mean? So it's just like working out, and that's half an avocado, which is so you're getting fats in there. If you didn't want that, you can change it up. You can put butter on your toast instead. Do you know what I mean? Always, guys, if everyone has margarine or butter, please go for butter. Margarine is so bad for you. Just get rid of that. Okay, so
how do you spread it? Because it goes rocks on
butter.
Yeah, well, spread it.
Take it out.
By spreadable butter.
Yeah, soft butter.
Spreadable butter.
Put in a little bowl, put it in the microwave for 10
Okay.
seconds.
Pretty much the same. But yeah, buy spreadable butter over margarine. I think spreadable butter and margarine are different. So spreadable butter and butter are the same. So buy spreadable butter, not margarine.
When you talk about wraps, there's like 20 different types of wraps on the shelf now.
Yeah, so pretty much you could kind of they're much and much. Try and find one. We're going to talk about in a second. I guess we should go. We could go into that. We'll
Just
into it.
quickly,
Yeah.
on the calories,
And just
where
check
does
the
the
calories.
coffee fit in?
Wherever you wanted to. So for example,
This is just a
guys, it's
basic.
a good question. I feel like we try and like she just said, who drinks coffee? Yeah, so she just asked, where's your coffee fit into there? So obviously black coffee as much as you want. If you want milk, you just work it out. So the coffee itself is nothing. So milk, if you're having a cup a day, work out a cup. Like it's 150 calories roughly for a cup. So 150 calories there, you're at 1750. Okay, if not, remove like don't take from here if you can, but like because that's still a fuckload. That's like a lot of protein. So you could still take a little bit from everywhere and fit in 150 grams. 150.
We guys probably see how much carbs it actually is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you guys might be like,
Yeah.
fuck, there's no way I can eat all that.
Plus 2 pieces of toast. So all of that plus toast.
And that's the only reason why we put more carbs in, just to show you guys, like, it's not just a full protein, like, you can have a lot of carbs and still fit within that. That's why we just sort of went over.
And that's
trying
a
to
pretty
make it as
decent
dry.
bowl. If you guys had that with your mince, that's a decent bowl. For pasta. So you can still have that. But there's certain things that you could do, like I said, this here is lentil pasta. And lentil pasta kind of tastes good, like where you do a lot with the kids. This tastes pretty much the same if you're mixing it with something. Disgusting on its own. But if you want to make it like with like bolognese, it tastes the exact same. And this has like way less calories, way less carbs, way more protein. Like, okay, like 25 grams of protein versus like 8. Yeah, so like, yeah,
I never use it.
heaps. Try a piece. I'm like, good last night. Try some. Take it
So
with
like
you.
you assume you have 3 meals a day, like breakfast, lunch, dinner type thing.
Yep.
But looking at all that food,
I don't know if you could eat all that food in one meal. So then do you have 5 meals? And
So
you
it
make
really,
up
so
all
one's
this
going to be
and
kind of
that?
like what Bree said on Thursday about at the start she felt like she couldn't really eat it all. So it's one of those things where I don't want you guys to start but like eat until you feel sick. There's no point in that. So you kind of eat until you're kind of full, and then but where I want you to go is just so you start to get full. I'd rather you then finish the chicken, finish the protein, leave the carbs. Don't worry about it. Like don't overthink about it. And as you you've got that, you had a little bit less, and then it will only really be important for someone like, for example, Reese. He's wanting to put on a significant amount of muscle. But if you're trying to lose fat, if you're still a bit more of a deficit, you just have more of a
And
deficit.
your body 100% adapts. Even for like when I try to put on weight, I'll like try and eat what I thought was like a lot of food. And I'm like, shit, I'm struggling to eat it all. And then the next week, the week after,
Yeah,
I'm
so you-
finishing it and I'm like, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Like your body adapts and like you'll get used to
So eat what you
eating
can,
it.
might be
and then the
an
next
effort
week you
at
might
the
eat a bit
start.
more, a bit more, a bit
And
more.
especially with these foods, your body processes them like pretty well.
Yeah,
Like you'll finish.
But it
and it's
doesn't
like-
matter then if you have 3 meals or 5
No,
meals. Like,
whatever
as
works for you.
long
You
as
have 2
eat.
meals.
It's just even out.
I don't have 2 meals a day. There's 1 meal.
And that goes the same for whether it's like white rice or brown rice or wholemeal wraps or white rock wraps. It doesn't matter. Check the calories and make it work
Yeah.
for you.
And if
Don't
anything,
feel
brown
like,
rice has more
oh,
calories.
it has to be brown bread or it has to be.
The only one, actually, so the only one I would do is, I agree, much as brown and white rice, but white shit like tip top bread.
Oh, yeah.
It's crap. But
Like
bread in
it's like
general,
fake
just carbs.
dyed, like don't give it to your kids. It's so bad. Like, do you know, I think if you're going like Baker's Delight, you might bring like really fresh, good, and it's baked there. There's less preservatives in that. I don't think there's actually that many in Baker's Delight, but shitty tip top white bread, please don't buy it. Like that's so bad. And the thing is, I don't understand kind of like fresh bread. I don't really like, but like I like whole milk bread, so buy whole milk bread or buy whole bread, but or buy a good bread. Like if you buy like Ciclona's, you buy like a really good like good bread from there. It's really different. It's differently made. But if you're going to buy a shitty tip top white bread, don't buy that. Okay, it's not good for you. But if you want, if it's one of these, you can make like a toasted sandwich, for lunch. The only difference is it's hard to fit in that much chicken in a toasty. Like it's really difficult. It wraps a bit easier. But you can also cut up like. Has anyone ever made like tenderloins? Just fry them straight away. They're so nice straight away. So you can have like 2 next to you, chuck some different like herbs and spices on them, and then have the rest in the wrap. So you have the wrap plus 2 pieces of chicken tenderloins next to you. Do you know? It doesn't have to be like in the one meal. Some people have like, a lot of people that really like snacks. Your snacks could be some like chicken with some sauce. You can make it like a different, I don't know, something else. It doesn't have to be like nuts, seeds, apple, yogurt, like these things that you think like you're going to take away from like what's a breakfast food, what's lunch food, what's a dinner food. Like food's just food. You can have it at any point. Like you can have eggs and bacon for dinner if that's what you felt like. It doesn't have to be these my set meals, and you can have snacks at any point if you want them. Or if you don't want snacks, like I don't like snacking. No. I just rather 3 meals a day. I'd rather big meals that I enjoy versus snack food, but it's up to you what works for you. But I do also do it while we're just on these with the calories. I do obviously kind of jumping over the board, but talking about the other foods here as well, that you can still like work these out as well. Like if you did, this is what we talked about on Thursday about not throwing it out the window. So if you went and had a chocolate bar, you had a chocolate bar, it was 200 calories, right? And you're like, oh my God, I'm just going to overeat. Instead, look at this and be like, okay, well, cool, where do I take the 200 calories from? If you want to do it that way. So then you're like, okay, I'm just, because the calories really are calories in versus calories out. Okay, so it really does come down to this. However, so you could every day a tub of Ben and Jerry's, the Netflix and chills is 1100. Anyone had that? It's great. So Netflix is 1100 calories, and then a block of like Cadbury Caramello is about 900. Yeah, it's out. So you can have that's 2000 calories. Right? You can have that every single day. But how long can you last that? How well can you train? How good are you going to feel? How adherent can you be to that? Because every day that's all you ate. Eventually something's going to give you might last 2 days on just that 3, but you're going to start to feel sick. Yep. So although calories in calories out have a huge role to play, because they really are, if you're at a deficit, no matter what that food's made up of, you will lose fat. The person just ate Macca's for 12 months and lost like 65 kilos based on calories. Then he got like some salad and stuff from Macca's, but he still had burgers, he had chips, he had everything from there, but he was at a calorie deficit. So it really does show that it's this, but how good do you feel? How energized do you feel? Does that make sense? So this plays a huge role, but understanding your levels of how you feel and how adherent you can be to it and how well you can train and that's that. Like, does that make sense?
No, totally good. So say we've given you, just as a rough estimate, 2,000 calories. So you've got to hit 2,000 calories. We've also shown like a big emphasis to your protein targets. That needs to be a huge emphasis for all of you guys. Now say I smash like a large pizza and that takes me 1,000, that's 1,000 calories for a large pizza, right? I've hit maybe 20 grams of protein out of that pizza. So say my protein target's 150 grams a day, just roughly, right? So follow me, 150 grams a day. I've just got 1,000 calories down and only hit 20 grams of protein. The onus is now on me to somehow, with only 1,000 calories to spare, get 130 grams of protein. You can't do it. So while you might be under your calories,
You
your
can almost
targets
still
are
be
gonna-
eating like a kilo of chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just sit there eating, and that won't be nice. Like you just sit there eating a kilo of chicken, because that would be about that would be close to like 800 calories, and you get about 100.
130 grams of protein. Even from there, you would need literally a kilo of chicken. Wouldn't you?
You need a kilo of chicken because you got to think 27 grams per 100.
Yeah.
So what do you need? 120.
Yeah. Even 130, you got 20 grams out of meat, maybe.
Yeah, so like 600. Yeah, 600 grams of chicken. You need to eat.
So all we're saying is,
It's not
if
gonna
you
be enjoyable.
overeat, it's not just about staying under your calories. It's about hitting your fiber intake. It's about hitting your protein intake. The more calories you spend on sort of empty calories, so not so healthy
Nutrient
food,
deplete. It's about nutrient
Yeah.
deplete food.
it
Then you're gonna
makes it
you're not gonna
harder.
get protein of it. So it's not something that you can't have. Does that make sense? So you can always have those foods, but it's just then working out here. But if you had like a chocolate bar versus a whole pizza, it's very different. So you didn't throw it out the window. Who cares? Just don't have bacon and accept breakfast even. It doesn't even be on that day. Like you can make it work. Don't think you haven't stuffed up anything.
Yeah.
It's fine. You've had it. Cool. And you can, even if you didn't minus it from something, oh well, over the entire week, that's like 20 calories a day extra. You'll be okay because you're all in a deficit already. Yeah. So it's okay. If you're somebody that like feels like, not that I want to like advocate for, but if you're someone that like you feel like you just like need a chocolate bar every night, then cool. But like pick and choose the best one. So look at what you're going to talk about in a second. I'll hand this out. Is labels. So like understanding like how to work, what's a better option to pick, that kind of stuff.
And we want you guys to expect to make mistakes, guys. Like, I don't want anyone here expecting to come into this going, I'm going to be absolutely perfect with my diet. I'm not going to fuck it up. I'm going to be adherent to the T. Because if you go into your diet with these expectations of, I'm going to
I
kill
don't
it,
have any. Can you get that one?
you're just going to be let
Someone
down.
share them and
because
just
you
look at it?
stuffed up.
I don't know what happened with my printing ran out of printer. I did it right. So everyone got one near them, or you take a photo of it. But it's one of those things where first of all I'll go to the bottom one. If everyone looks at the bottom little thingy. So I'm going to put this so I can go through it. So when you're looking at, so you can see how you've got like, does that make sense? So you've got, if you're looking, you got like your per serving. So everyone kind of see your per serving line and then your per 100 line. Okay, the reason why they do that is so everything can be comparable because every serving size is different, right? But 100 grams is comparable. So if I'm going to compare this with this, the serving size might be different, but the 100 versus the 100, so I can compare what's technically better. Yep. So when I'm looking at two different things, if I'm going to compare them, I'm going to look at the main thing I'm looking at is you're looking at the calories, so the calories and the energy. So if you can see here the kilojoules, if you want to write right next to that, so you can divide it by 4.2 is the calories. So generally go by calories, easy to work out. So if you're going to divide it by 4.2, then you can work out the calories of something.
Why is everything in kilojoules when everyone uses calories?
I don't know.
Is it because
It's a government thing.
is it from a different because where we get that from?
What did you say?
No,
No,
this is enough. This is
No
in
matter
general.
where you
Everything-
buy
really?
something from, it's in kilojoules.
Yeah,
And sometimes it is in
It'll
brackets.
say
Like
it
in
all
brackets,
the
this
time.
one, for example, this one's got the brackets.
Yeah.
So it's got the brackets.
Yeah.
Is
But
it so,
yeah,
is it
just
so
so-
people can't work it out? So
Yeah.
how many dollars they just
Like
buy
the
it?
health recommendations is that
In kilojoules.
the recommendation is, what is it?
8,100.
8,700.
One. That was 8.1.
Yeah,
totally.
8.7, so you're right.
Yeah.
So we haven't changed our mind to it.
So does that make sense? So you're looking at those. So the other things that I would be looking at here is, depending on what you're looking at, is definitely protein. So if everyone kind of go down and have a look and see where they see protein. So you can see in the serving, it's like 2.8, right? But then for the 100, so if you're comparing two things together, you would look at protein, so the calories of it, the protein. So just those two things, not much. You can't even go down the list. So just say two things had very similar calories. Okay, cool. Which one's better? So just looking at like Vitalix and Saladas, right? You want something a little bit different. Compare them, might be the same calories. Go down, protein, Vitalix, 5 grams a biscuit, 1. Yeah, what are you going to pick? You're going to already go for like, oh, well, you know, Vitalix probably going to be better. Then you can kind of look at the other things. I mainly focus on that and fiber. They're really the only things I would. Fat and maybe and sugars. So sugars, but not fats. Doesn't matter. Do not worry about fats. Anything it's good fats are in things, not seeds. Like I wouldn't worry about fats.
For protein, do you want us to look at per serve or per 100?
So it's always like, so if we're comparing two things together, you'd look at the per 100 because you're comparing it. You can't compare the serve because the serves would be different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this bar and this bar. So this one is, what's this one in? This is 175 grams. This This is 200 grams. So they're different serving sizes. So for me to compare them and being like, oh, well, this one's got way more protein than this one. Well, because it's way bigger. So does it actually have more protein or does it per 100? Yeah. So if you're comparing two things together, you're looking at the 100. If we're just looking at one thing, we'll just look at the nutrition thing, right? So it's going through that. So you would look at, calories, most much and muchness, go down the list. Protein, cool. Protein, much and muchness. Which one has a bit more fiber, great? Which one has more sugar? Yeah. So this one might have, and it depends on how, like, you kind of want to weigh up the protein. Are you looking for more protein? Then go for the more protein option. Are you trying to keep it at lower calories? Go for the lower calorie option. Like, it's kind of, I can't give you a set answer because based on what you're after and what your diet's after. But like sugars, if you are, I feel like there's a lot of mums here. So if you're looking, that's why I did these main labels in. If you're looking for things for kids and you want things like sugar is a big part of it. But what I wanted to go to next was the thing up, looking at the label. So I've got these two different bars, right? So if look at the dark green one, if you guys look at that, there's 5 ingredients in that. No preservatives, nothing in this bar. It's just made as it is. So if you have a look at this, you've just got dates, you've got almonds, you've got raw cacao. Right, it's just all natural food pressed into a little bar with not one preservative. Okay, so I would be happy. I don't have the time to. Ages.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. What? Yep. So if you didn't like have time to like make something, this would be a better thing to buy because this is what it is. Can you guys then look at the second one? Can you see that extensive list of shit? Yeah, can you see how much stuff is in there?
Yeah.
Does that seem like a good choice to have? No. Look at it. Look at all of these things. I don't know what they are. I don't know what those things are that's in this bar.
Yeah.
So there's no way that I would give this to myself or my child because it's just cancer. Okay, causes like all these problems. Don't have that shit. So if you're going to compare two things, you're comparing things with less shit in it. Okay, so that's where the like the actual ingredients list comes into play. Versus, and the other thing I want to quickly go through, so you're looking at two things, I don't know if it's going to get really confusing, so hold this up. So you've got this normally underneath this, so you normally have this little thing, and then the ingredients listed underneath, right? So you've got these two, just in here, just so you're looking for sugar content, and you're like, you pick up, I was saying this does say that, you pick up like a bowl, you know, dates come in like a, I've got dates that come in like a little container. So anything that comes in a container will always have like a label on it, right? So with that, the dates might have like 15 grams of sugar, like, oh, it's 15 grams of sugar, but if you look at the ingredients, 100% dates.
Yeah.
So the date itself has sugar, but that's not sugar. Versus, so you want, if something has like 20 grams of sugar and you look down and the first ingredient on the list is sugar, abort, because all that is sugar. Versus dates have 15 grams, but they've got fiber and they've got nutrients. Like if an apple had a label, we'll probably have 20 grams of sugar, but it's good for us. It's naturally occurring and it breaks down because there's fiber. You eat it all works together, it digests well, our body absorbs it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ingredient has to kind of go much like hand in hand. So you're looking at like what is on the list. And the first, if everyone doesn't know, the top of the list is the thing that's got the most in it. So sugar's the first 2 or 3. All got sugar in it. So you want sugar at like the end of the list. You don't want sugar. So even if you're picking like tomato sauce, like find one where the sugar's like getting further down the list, but like just says sugar then tomatoes, that's the proper. Okay, there's more sugar than tomatoes in tomato sauce, but we've got to find that's not okay. Cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Everyone get that? Cool. So when you're understanding, like that's really cool. So that's what I want to do. Now I want you guys, is there any questions about that? I really want to understand that.
If you were
Yep. Okay. Go for it.
if you're looking for something like, let's say, like a, I don't know, whether it's a protein bar or whatever, and it does have sugar in it,
They all will.
it will, but like what's like an acceptable amount? Do you know what I mean? Like what would you?
Whatever fits into.
Yeah, it just depends.
It
It's
depends
gotta
on
suit.
everything else.
Yeah, don't stay away from anything that has sugar in it just because it says sugar. You know, it's like there's more than like it's acceptable to have, but you just got to understand.
I just want to compare.
Like we were talking about, like empty calories.
Yeah.
You want it to suit your goals and suit your calories.
And also this one, so this one actually is much better for you, right? So this one has 13.7 grams of sugar. This one has 7.4. But the reason is because everything in here is fake. This has dates. The main ingredient in this is dates. So it's too confusing. You're gonna look at this and be like, well, I get this one, but you just saw on that list, why on earth would you want to get this one?
Yeah.
But but you looked at it because you haven't looked at the ingredients list. This is so much better for you. It's just real food. There's just almonds, dates. Dates are high, like all these things have high, like so you know, sorry, I don't know, what are the calories? 202, you get 150. So but per 100 grams, yeah, the much just in terms of everything else, but this is so much better for you, but it's got more sugar. Does that so it's a bit hard to judge it. Yeah, so I wouldn't overthink about that too much.
Yeah.
And the main thing, because if you're looking at the ingredients list and the sugar's further down, then it doesn't matter what the grams are. But if you're looking at something and the sugar's at number 1, then it will be way too much sugar for whatever serving you're getting, because the whole ingredient of that is sugar.
Just
Yeah.
maybe, if you really wanted it, you work out whatever the calories were, and then you
And
sort of
then-
just maybe you can have that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's more so like, if we're looking, this is where it gets a little bit where you're looking at, I guess, calories versus health. So we can fit anything we want into our calories. And that's what I'm going to you guys obviously watch the last video. The last video on that list is calories versus health. So understanding that we can fit whatever we want into our calories, but how good is it for us? How does it make us feel? What does it do? So if you're looking for things like with children, might be really different to what you're looking for yourself. So for you, I just want to fit things in my calories. I felt like chocolate, I'm going to eat it. But if I'm trying to make the best meal for my kids, then you probably are going to look at like you want things with less sugar and less crap in them.
Yeah.
You know, where if you don't mind having. So it's kind of like if you've got a protein bar, there's no protein bar out there in the world that doesn't have a list of stuff in it. But like for example, Coop has one that's got 45 grams of protein, but the list of shit in that is, but the aim is to get the protein. So that's the aim of it. So you got to pick up what's your aim. Are you trying to get the protein, or are you trying to have like the most healthiest food in the world? Yeah. So it's just kind of picking and choosing. But if you're getting all of this food in here and having a chocolate bar, it doesn't matter. Because you've got variety, you've got like all this fiber, you've got all these nutrients, all these micronutrients, all these good foods. It doesn't matter if you eat chocolate or you eat pizza on the weekend or anything, because most of your food's this good nutrient dense food.
Can I ask one question? We're talking white meat, sort of turkey, chicken.
Yeah,
What
I
if we
was gonna-
bring into red
Yeah, sorry, I was going to explain this. So 100, so this is like so if you want to like, this is where it gets a little bit like confusing, but if you're wanting to swap out, so you know I said to you before, you can easily swap out a lot of these pretty easily. So about rice for pasta, and you can kind of like double your serving for your potato, so you just kind of double it. But with meat, so just say, where's this gone? So if you were going to like swap out the chicken, so right now this 300 grams of chicken, which you saw here, right, is 300 calories. It's got 80 grams of protein. Okay, roughly in that 300 grams. It doesn't mean you swap out 300 grams of chicken for 300 grams of steak. This is a 170 gram piece of steak, and this has 40 grams of protein in it only. Right? But so they've got roughly similar amount of protein, but way higher fat content. You can see the fat. That's very, very lean. So it means this would be 450 calories. 400 because there's so much fat there.
Protein content comparatively between chicken and steak is.
This is about 22 and 27 per 100 grams.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's about roughly similar. So steak for 100 grams is about 22 grams of protein versus about for 22, 20. It depends on like the steak versus 27 to 30, right? So they're similar-ish. No? What do you have?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure there's. Do you check and darts?
So
I was getting the turkey meat, so I didn't have the steak.
yeah, so this is, so if I scan this, it's 40
Yeah.
grams of protein.
Yep.
Yeah, because about 170 things. So half that's about 20.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you have normally?
So.
The steak's definitely, chicken's 27 for 100 grams.
So yeah,
27 to 30.
we won't talk about my steaks because they're like 400.
Yeah, but basically on 100 grams.
Yeah.
What do you have in your head as 100 grams?
Nah,
Protein.
because I only know. So say I have like a 400 gram steak, it's got like upwards of 125, 130 grams of
Yes.
protein.
Yeah, so about 105-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so roughly it's about, it doesn't say, roughly it's about 24 grams and it's about 27 per 100 grams. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
much as per 100 grams is similar, the difference is this is so much more calories because that's got no fat in it.
Yeah.
This has fat in it. So you can't just kind of swap them for swapping them unless you're happy to add the calories. So like if I swap out, yeah. So do it like same with the turkey. So white meat's just leaner. That's all. Where this is just higher in fat content. So it's just understanding a little bit more. Or would be roughly, so like you have a piece of steak that might be like 600 calories.
Yeah, more.
Yeah, more. So like, do you know what I mean? So he's like, so he might get his, but it's 600 versus you could have the same amount as chicken and it'd be way less calories, but similar protein.
Yeah.
Just be less calories because there's more fat. You can physically see the fat in steak. Obviously, you get a leaner cut of steak, but it's just understanding that you probably wouldn't swap it out completely swap for swap. You might have to be like, okay, I really feel like steak. Great, I can get similar amount of protein, but then my calories probably have to give from somewhere else. I might have to have a few less carbohydrates because I want my steak.
There'll be pros and cons for everything you eat. So just the same way with comparatively, the rice compared to say potato is quite nutritionally void. Chicken is a little bit the same, say comparatively to steak. So while steak is a lot more calories, yes, because it's got a higher fat content. Also, very nutrient dense as far as iron and creatine
B12.
and B12 and things go that people tend to miss out on, especially when people go say a vegetarian diet. They're missing out on the things like that. So there'll be a trade-off for anything you choose. I think also like that's why we're trying to hammer into you have options, you know. So if
Variety.
you prefer steak and you're happy to sacrifice those calories because it's got a high fat content, but also iron, creatine, B12, go with that. If you prefer to get more meat in, say for example, get chicken or whatever, up to you guys. Got to make it work for you and your taste buds and what you actually enjoy eating.
Yeah, and it's like with the sugar, it's like what you're comparing. Are you like comparing just protein or are you comparing nutrients? Like what are you comparing? Because if you're trying to be like, okay, what gives me more protein for less calories or gives me more nutrients for less calories? Yeah, like it's all kind of there. But the biggest thing is variety. If you just have a variety of food, have steak, have chicken, have all of it, have meats, have turkey, like vary it, then you're never lacking in anything ever.
And then you can, like Sam was saying earlier, like that plate of food or that day, if you're struggling to hit the calorie, like because you can't eat that much chicken, you can just have red meat and it would
Have a steak. It'll
Build up
bump
your
up your
calories.
calories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you're someone like Marlene who would really struggle to get in calories, you want the high fat stuff.
Yeah.
So in that
And
situation,
it's much easier to eat.
you could have you have steak, you have salmon, you can have, she doesn't like red meat, but you can have salmon. Salmon still has it's a little bit less protein, but it's still good for you. It's got heaps of like AHA and DHA, like so many good nutrients in protein, in that kind of fish. So there's still like, so I mean there's great nutrients in it, but it means it's like it's 500-600 calories for one bit of salmon. So that's an easy way to get up to some calories, plus we'll get protein in there. Yeah, so that's kind of like kind of covered all those
And then-
things.
Over there. And there.
We haven't done
And then
this
come
yet.
back to you.
Yeah,
I
so
was
kind of
looking before.
everywhere. So that's kind of everything. And then I now want you guys to like, okay, cool, it's all well and good. Like, cool, you can see that we can have a variety of food. We need to hit our protein and our calories. How do we work that out?
Can I ask you one more question before we go on to that? Now, you mentioned in the guide and touched upon the intermittent fasting.
Oh, you want to talk
So-
about?
So if you're going, carries in, carries out at the end of the day, what are the benefits then?
So it really depends. This is why I only put them in there because everything's an option. Like we talked about when we talked about Thursday, like multifaceted. Like it can change. It can work for you. It may not work for you. So it's just some of these things are a little bit of trial and error. So there's mixed views from different scientists and different people about intermittent fasting or fasting or time restricted windows. Some have a big thing in terms of that it's significant, like there's actually like a massive change in actual fat loss and that it helps the body to burn fat, where other people find that because you're eating at a shorter window, it doesn't actually change anything, but you're less likely to get in more calories. So someone like, if you're only eating from say 12 to 6 p.m., you have a shorter window to getting less calories. So overall, either one is I still feel like there's a benefit to it because either one you eat, either you can't get in less calories or either research, they've already done research on rats. So that's why the research, you can't the research is actually on like rats. So rats significantly lost more fat eating the same amount of calories but in a shorter window.
Well,
But they haven't done it on-
us that will struggle to actually hit those calories. It wouldn't make sense to.
No,
them.
exactly, fantastic, exactly. So for people that are the opposite end of the stick that like to eat more food, then so Marlene definitely not, you definitely not. People that want to eat less, you would want to eat more regularly because you want to get your calories in. You actually struggle to get it in, absolutely. So that's what it comes. So again, it's really what seems, I suppose, beneficial for
It
you.
depends what you can do. Like I tend to like almost do that most days, but my meals are massive. And that's why I usually won't eat till about lunchtime after I get home. But then I'll have like 3 massive meals and then I'll still hit it all. But
But also comes into does his lifestyle. Like he works, he doesn't want to eat between like sessions and whatever else. So that works for him. So it's kind of what works for your lifestyle. If you're like busy and you kind of stress, like I found like I like that as well because you kind of like, I gotta make food and I'm trying, like it's a time thing. Like, I just want to come in, work, then go home and eat a meal. I don't have like, doesn't, because where people go wrong is they get like frantic. Can I use you as an example? Like she's got a food, maybe 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, and like she just went on like a crazy, she's like, I don't have any food, and then like went on a mad rush and ate everything because she's like, I didn't pack one meal. It's okay. Like, I don't eat the meal, just get something like, that's what happens. We panic because we're meant to eat these things. So it's okay to change from day to day. It's okay if you don't want to eat breakfast. That myth got like busted years ago. You don't have to eat breakfast. Okay, you don't have to eat anything. The only thing would have to be probably where food would become a real big timing thing is someone like when Coop was trying to go on stage and the 1%ers. For you guys, we're not there. We're just like, we're normal everyday people. But for like someone who's like elite athlete in the Olympics, time the way they eat and how their performance and all that stuff, it's that last little 1%. But if we don't have the 99% right, why on earth are we focusing on the 1%?
Yeah.
So it makes sense that 1% will make no difference at all to everyday people. It would only make a difference to that, do you agree? You know, and when it's
I'm
like,
not 100%.
does that make sense? So it's just like that's that little bit that would change, because when he was going to say he's that adherent that 1% change could fill his muscles up more, give him more energy to train or whatever it was. So thinking about like, oh, do I need to eat after training or be training? It only really matters when we're being very specific and when everything else is perfect. Everything else for you guys comes down to like your lifestyle and what suits you and what you can do long term that works for you.
And you gotta remember as well, the less time you're spending eating, the less time you have to hit not just your calories, but your protein targets as well. So if I don't start eating until midday, I now have between midday and whatever time I stop eating to hit those protein targets, which may be 150, 160 grams of protein. So it's like, when you start thinking about it that way, like it doesn't seem like such a good idea, because chances are you won't hit those targets. And that's the most important, one of the most important things I want you guys to focus on is hitting your protein. So make your diet work for you. But if you aren't starting your food until 12 and all of a sudden, oh my God, I've got to get 2,000 calories worth of food in now for between now and the rest of the day, you won't get it in. So make it convenient for you guys. The intermittent fasting thing, as far as I'm concerned, it is a convenience thing. It's about making it fit your lifestyle. So I'm on the same page as Das. I like to not eat while I'm working. I start the day with a black coffee. Don't eat anything until midday, and then I smash it because I like the feeling of eating a really, really big meal for lunch and then a massive meal for dinner, and then I'll have a shake or something. That's convenient for us, but you guys might be like, on your deathbed, not eating until 12. So you might want to have 5 meals spaced out throughout the day. So it's got to be convenient for you, your lifestyle, how you guys want to run it.
I also want to talk about this in this as well, because people have asked me about it and we have put it in there. Now, there is a thing now, and this is actually like, this is the thing that like me and Adam both doing our nutrition course. And there's a lot of research on this, and my bias has really changed with this, because I was someone that, like, based on what we would have all learned, that if you were on a really aggressive deficit for a prolonged period of time, really long calories, that your protein, that your muscles would like break down, your body can't blah blah blah. A lot of that now is being like kind of like shown in a lot of research now in like big study groups, and that like not for a long, but you could do kind of a 2 to 4 week very, very aggressive diet. Like I'm talking like 800, 1,000 calories for 2 weeks back to back, then go to maintenance, then go to your other one, and then change that. So the reason why I want to talk about is that it has shown that people, and this doesn't work for everyone, this is where it all comes down to body fat, that changes, you can try it, but it makes people less hungry. It makes people have more energy. It's showing people to like actually like eat less food. So I've been trying, I can kind of do 4 days at a time where I just don't eat all day and eat dinner. And for me, I've really enjoyed it. I really like it. And I could probably 5 days is the longest I can do it for, and then I find like after that I'm like I'm wanting to like, it's bad and I want to like eat. But if someone wants to, we can talk about that in a bit more detail. But if something you want to do, I definitely am way less hungry. I'm not craving food as much. I'm not binge eating as much because I'm not thinking about food. So it's just like pretty much the diet is eat as little as you possibly can, and it's showing that like pretty much you could do 4 weeks where there wouldn't be a significant or any muscle decrease. Different if you're trying to put on size, but if your aim is fat loss, that's where it comes into. It's not there for muscle. So anyone that's wanting to put on muscle mass, not for you. It's there for, and you can still say they're showing that your performance in the gym wouldn't change dramatically within about 2 weeks. You just wouldn't progress. Yeah. So if you were hitting an 80 kilo deadlift, there's nothing to say that you couldn't hit the 80 kilo deadlift the week you're doing that. But beyond that, beyond kind of the 2 weeks or 3 weeks, there's no way. And you wouldn't progress. You wouldn't do 90, 100. You couldn't progress with it. But that's an option there as well for someone that wants like more of a significant, like we could do 4 days of it.
But would you still be eating? So you wouldn't be eating.
So with the protein, that's what your focus with those meals would be, primarily protein. So in each meal you have, your focus would be like meat and veg. Because if you're trying to get low calories, it would be like a steak or chicken and like a whole of the veg versus rice and carbs. Yeah. And the thing is, I'm just as full. So when I finish dinner, I'm just as full as I was if I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I know you'll get waves. So I'll get a wave at 11 and a wave at like 4 where I'm like, I want to eat. And then it goes away. It goes away. And
That's only because you're so used to
Yeah,
years
it's
of eating at
routine.
those times. You're like, oh fuck, I'm hungry.
yeah, where you're like, and you drink water. Like I'll find like I like was thinking about things. So I don't know if anyone like, not that I'm saying everyone go get hydrolyte and stuff, but it's amazing how much you crave something when you think you're craving it. Where just say, I don't know if anyone, so those who really like chocolate, I feel like you know this feeling, but when you like really like chocolate and you really feel like it, and then you get it, and the piece is so yum. Yes, anyone like, not like when you're like, oh my god, it tastes like delicious. You really miss out on life. What you experience, but like where you like it, and you're like, I really want it, and you had the first bite, and it's so yum. So I like to eat food when it tastes like that to me. I want like food, like if I'm going out to a really good restaurant, I want to eat all day. So I can like eat the meal, get really excited about it. Okay. So that's like a real big thing for me. Where if I was like craving just at 4 o'clock, really craving chocolate, if I went home, got an iced drink of water, put it with some hydrolyte, sculled that, and I'm like, damn it, I don't feel like the chocolate anymore. Like I don't before ever bought the chocolate bar, had that, and then I don't feel like it. I don't want to eat that chocolate because I want to enjoy the chocolate bar. I don't want to eat it when I'm not feeling like it. So things like even a little bit of cordial with some ice cold water, and you scull it. One, you're probably even thirsty as well, is sometimes a sign of hunger. So you could like have your water, have that, and be like, do I actually feel like it? No, I don't. It's just my body, like sugar levels and different things like that. So if you have your whole meal and then have something kind of like that, you might find you don't even want it. So sometimes just like when you're listening to your body, take your time versus being on a mad rush to go get the sweet food. Try eating other foods first, drinking a lot of water, feeling satisfied, and then seeing if you still want it.
Yeah.
So everyone get out a pen and paper. So everyone's got their I want you to get your paper that's got your calories and your protein on it. Your protein, your calories and your weight. Bye, have fun. Yep, so you've got that there. So everyone put down their body weight and then times that by 2 and write equals. Let's just do that first.
Do you?
I don't know. I don't know. Yep, so then that would be. Yep, so that would be 140 grams of protein. Yep, makes sense. So body weight times 2. This is a 70 kilo person. So put your own weight down. Everyone got that? Very weight times by 2. Like you guys can do the math on that. Yep. And roughly, like if you weigh 71.2, like just 70 bucks. Don't like overthink it.
Round up.
Yep, and then everyone write their calories down. So let's say this. Yep, now this is going to get a bit like mathematical here, like a bit. I don't want to like over confuse what I was trying to look at. So body weight somewhere 70. We're just doing a really basic 2 times 140 grams of protein. So whatever you guys got there, you've got your thing, circle it. So circle it, you cold, are you?
I'm freezing.
Oh, you're right in there, like that's like in the airline of that.
Is everyone else all right?
Oh, we will be.
I'm hot.
You are.
I'm my dear.
That's like you're in like the crossfires of it.
You're right, Coops, we're right.
Oh, it's freezing in here.
How are you feeling?
I'm fine.
Okay, yeah.
Jared?
Hey guys, has everyone done that? And you've got your calories underneath it, 800 calories, yes?
Yeah.
Whatever calories you've got.
Yeah.
Yes, cool. So I don't want to be now. You know, I said to you on Thursday that everything, so a fat, a protein, a carbohydrate, all have their own calorie per gram. Yes. So let's just protein is 4 calories per gram. So if you times that by 4,
140,
140 280 times 540.
60.
That's
what I was gonna say.
560, right. So 560 calories, does this make sense? You can all do your own in a minute, is made up of protein in that meal. That makes sense, everyone? Really, like, so you've got your own one there, and then 1800 minus 560. What's that? 1240?
1240.
Yep, so then 1200, yeah, everyone kind of, I don't want to like, so do that for yourself. If you need any help, let me know. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. So 560 of your calories made up of your protein. You've got 1240 left, carbs, fat, chocolate. Okay,
Wherever you want.
wherever you want.
Go
So everyone gets
nuts.
that. So let me know if you're confused. So circle it. That's like, I just need you guys to really understand so you're not confused. If you're confused, it's okay. Tell me.
Yeah, give me a sec.
Okay, cool. So like, do you mind if we do yours?
Yeah.
Do you care what you weigh? So,
Yeah.
if you don't want to, I would do it.
No, yeah.
Okay, so let's just we'll redo yours again. So what? Let's just do Jim again. So Jim, what do you weigh?
110.
Okay. So obviously it's like we're not getting that with yours. We're going to talk about that. That's obviously not there, but so that would be 220, which is very high in terms of like trying to get that protein. It was very hard to get, but let's just say 220. What are your calories that I gave you?
25.
All right. So if I times 220 times 4, thank you, is 880. So 880 of your calories is made up of protein. That will change slightly because that's very high. Then we've got left over out of the 2,200 minus 880. So,
Damn
thir-
it.
so
So close.
1,320 is what you've got left over to make out your food. So it means that like so I know this is like you don't necessarily have to work out this way, but it's just kind of understanding that okay, if I hit my protein needs, you work out your protein, everyone's working out their protein, you've got all your food there based on your protein, because that's your focus kind of for the week is getting in your protein. So if you work all that out and your focus is just on the grams of protein, you then know that whatever's left over is this rather than having to weigh up everything. All you have to kind of do is weigh up like sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once you like would know all your protein stuff, so you've weighed your chicken, you kind of know roughly you've got your grams of protein, that will work out to be whatever you've got there. Then whatever's left over, you've got to make up. So that could be wraps, rice, pasta, whatever you've got in there left over. So you've hit your protein for the day. You can make whatever this makes you feel the best. So if you are someone that really likes carbs, eat carbs. If you really love like avocados and nuts, like, you know, eat those. If you want to fit in chocolate food, does that make sense? So you can really fit in. So it is a little bit of
Working out, but once you
Working
guys get it, and like that's what like for most of it, like we're trying to reduce our body fat. Obviously, our calories, we just want to be in a bit of a deficit. As long as we're mainly hitting our protein, obviously it's the best for us, as me has pretty much explained the whole time. Then the rest you guys can fill up with ideally whatever you guys want. Because the biggest thing, the best way for you guys to adhere to all your food stuff is to try and make things that you guys will enjoy. So that's why once we figure this out, as you said, we'll take a little bit of time, especially with playing around with the meals, then you guys will be golden.
How have you worked out? Is there a quick explanation as to how you've worked out what calorie count you've given people?
yeah. So pretty much the main thing is really I feel like you put the heater on. So if I can hear that. Yeah, because they put change it to air kind of thing. It's not on cool. No,
I
it's on
turned it
cool.
off, I turned it on. I
Actually, you
haven't
can
done
turn it off.
anything
You
more than
said
that.
you said that at the start.
Yeah,
Everyone
so
will have at least
different-
1,600 calories.
Yes. So the reason why is everyone has so there's a calculation that has been created through like multiple scientists. Yep, and they all kind of figure muchness, which is like based on fat, muscle, weight, height, everything.
Yeah.
The machine itself has that calculation in it. We can work it out. Adam's like thing on like our Excel spreadsheets are like this long. So it's a big like there's like 3 different calculations that scientists made over the last like, I don't know, 100 years.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like a mixture of all those. So that gives us a resting metabolic rate. So what your body burns at rest. And it will come down to like how much muscle someone's got, how much fat someone's got. So generally someone's got more muscle and also more fat will burn more because their body actually uses more energy to like walk, move, sleep, move around. So the bigger someone is, generally the higher their resting metabolic rate is. Then from there, we look at like daily activity, like what someone is, how they're moving, what their job is, are they sitting, what their goals are, and then kind of like subtract and take away and add in
So yeah,
things.
that's what I'm saying.
There's no easy way to figure
Where
it
is
out.
it taken into consideration, like how active someone is during the day?
Us.
And
That's what we.
That's what we work out before we give it to you.
So someone might be sitting behind a desk for 8 hours, whereas someone might be.
Like you probably
filming
should be
and hammering
closer
away
to
on a roof,
3,000, but we want to lose fat.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've got you a lot lower.
Just while I'm there, the calories in and out, just so I can get my head around calories better. An average session here, as a boss workout, how many calories would I be?
How
Ellen's a piece of string.
Yeah, anyone could be varied, but
Depends
I'm
on
going to
how much.
say somewhere between
1,000 or 2,000 or-
Depends if we
like
do it- if
Try like 300.
300 to 500.
Yeah.
I'm going to say like that, but I'm talking like where everyone's different because it comes down to like how hard you're working, how hard like your heart
Are we
rate
doing
is, how
strength?
heavy rate,
Are
are
we
you doing
doing
strength,
cardio?
you're doing cardio, what are you doing like, and it's also based on like who actually knows. So that's where if you watch my videos, I talk about that in the videos that we can definitely work out generally what somebody like is. Like what the calories are that you should kind of like sit at roughly and what calories like you put into your body. So the calories in, we can generally work out because it's based on science, it's got these things that set, right? But what you output, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's only based on like the watches are a much of a muchness. What they kind of work out is like real, like how much you burn to walk your car versus Joel. Who the fuck knows? The only way there's a special machine, it's called it's this giant big machine called or something, and they can like put you on there and they can like measure calorie output, but like it's like $1,000 and like maybe an athlete will do it. Like I don't know what, like no one does it. So there's no way to really know.
And that's why we were saying the other night, it's going to be a bit of a trial and error. Like at the start, like we might have these calories and we're working for the first few weeks. And like we said, using the scales as a tool, if it's not moving, it's either we're consuming too much or we're not outputting enough. And like I said, we're not gonna get it straight away. Like, and that's the thing. The whole thing about it's not about 8 weeks we're hitting our absolute peak at the end of it. It's about learning and then constantly being able to progress this. And then once we get it, once everyone, because everyone's going to be a bit different. Some people might get it straight away. Some people we might not. We have to play around with things. But eventually, once we do get it, it's very easy to stay on top of it, and then we keep going. Then you'll be much
And as
more.
we talked about, there was weighing yourself. Like every Monday, you might want to weigh. If you're on a downward trend, you're at a deficit. If you're on an upward trend, you're certainly not. So it's not even for us, it's a bit of a trial. It is actually trial and error. I can't say to you 100% these are the right calories for you. So it's kind of like we may have to either move more, eat less. So that's when we talk about like the meat and like moving throughout your day. So in here, planned exercise, if you looked at my graph, watch my video, planned exercise is like this much of your total daily energy expenditure. It's so small. When meat's like this much. Rest metabolic rate's half of it, and the other ones are made up of like thermic effect of food. So because every time you eat food, you burn calories. So if we're eating protein, we're going to burn more calories while we're eating protein. Protein takes the longest to break down. So every time we eat, we're actually burning calories. Every time we walk, we're burning calories. Every time we sleep, we're burning calories. And every single time we train at the gym, we're burning calories. But burning at the gym here, yes, it's a set period, but you could burn 10,000 calories walking around all day versus the 500 here.
You burn more at work.
Absolutely, but it's a whole period of time. But if you came here and did 24 hours here, you'd burn more here.
Yeah.
But you can't do that for 24 hours. So you guys walking more as much as you can is so important. Like walk everywhere you can. Get a minimum of 10,000 steps a day. Like I'll hit 10,000 steps before it's 10 a.m. easily when we work here. We hit like 30,000 steps a day here. Absolutely. So that's where it's like, it is, but that's where it's setting alarms.
It's like wake up
getting
early,
around.
go for a walk.
You're a nurse, walk up and down the
Yeah, no,
areas.
she burn.
Keep walking.
Like what, anywhere that you can think of, like, is there stairs that you can take? Are you now not working from home but working somewhere else? Could you park further away and walk to site? Like, how many of you seriously would go to Safeway and like wait in a stupid lines with everybody else to get the front of the first car back? Like, I walk in, I always do the last one. So get like, as soon as you go to Safeway, park in the furthest spot, the first spot you see, the first one you see. Because the thing is, the time you waste while you're like trying to line up with everybody else to get the front lines, you'll already be inside Safeway. Like things like that. Go to Southland, park at the other end where no one's parking. So yes, don't shake your head, bud. So just like getting your NEAT in is going to make a big difference, and that's your output. Does that make sense? Yeah. Just the thing with this we already talked about is just so you're really clear, grams of food doesn't equal protein. So as you just worked out here, there is 300 grams of chicken. That's 90 grams of protein. 300 grams of chicken, 90 grams of protein, a little bit less. Because it's 27-ish. And even with that, it's like who knows? There's a bit more fat on here, like much more, somewhere between 27 and 30-ish grams roughly. Don't be crazy about the exact because no one actually 100% knows. But to make sense, that weighs 300 grams, but it's only got, so I've written on your sheet paper that I've sent to you guys, not emailing just everybody, rough amounts per 100 grams. Okay, so chicken 27, steak 24, mince pork 16, is roughly around, yeah. Some are different. So for example, the pork mince from Aldi has like more protein than the pork mince that the other calculations wrong. I don't know. Just want to stuff it up. I don't like, did that bird eat more food that day? I don't know.
Yeah, no. If when I scan it from
do you know, but you know,
Aldi seems to have more protein and less fat than the ones from Safeway. I don't know
so
why.
it has less fat, but I don't know about the protein. Like that's the thing. It's like I said, how's piece of string? So I know people that are vegetarian podcasts, I can't talk about this, but like a cow, like depending on like the bit of the, like how much, like it all, like when that cow to become food, did like, you know, really bad
transitions.
Did that like meat, like what was it fed? How, like it's so different. You're 100%. So it's a rough thing. Does that make sense? So some steak may have 30 grams, some might only have 20 on that particular piece, and you will never know. Yeah, it is just a rough guide. Don't try and be too crazy with it because no one will 100% know, but they roughly know. Yeah, so the calories you get even on these that are written on the box, they're just still based on like, each bar might be slightly different. This might have 2 more C's than the other one, so therefore technically it's got more protein.
They're even saying like roughly, the roughly does work.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then like, obviously saying roughly, but roughly works. Like using these, we know it works. Like whether ourselves, other people, like abiding by this and like using these tools, as I said, roughly they do work if we use them.
And just let's pretend that says the Commonwealth I've written down. If you didn't have a shelf, I'll send it to you. And just my Fitness Pal, just you try and use a barcode. Just use a barcode with everything. That's the best thing. A lot of the stuff is still a little bit wrong. So try and use your barcode with the My Fitness Pal. So just like things like just scanning, every bit of meat will have a barcode. So scan that if you really want to work it out. There's an app, so you can download My Fitness. But you could go based on what I've given you. If you just have scales and weigh, and not even scales, if you just bought a kilo of chicken, and then work out that way. So based on these things you've got here and you're eating those proteins, you'll easily hit your protein needs because they're just there. They're all, I've got tofu and I've got things. And
You guys will be full though. Like when you guys start trying to actually hit these protein targets that we've set for you, you will be full. So protein's the most satiating food you can eat. You know how you can eat just chips and chips and chips today because they're very like nutritionally void of anything good. When you start focusing on your protein intake, there's protein in every meal. You will be fuller than what you typically will be because often a lot of your meals, not all of you, a lot of your guys' meals will have lacked protein in all of them, you know.
and probably veg as well.
Yeah.
Because the
and so
fiber and the protein together,
when
you're
you
gonna be like,
start to
well,
bulk them out with fiber and protein heavy content, expect to be full. Try to stick with it.
Just on the MyFitnessPal, if anyone's not sure, like once you eventually plug it in, like if anyone needs a hand, you go add food because it's usually got like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Add food. There is a thing called scan barcode,
just scan it.
and then once you do scan it, it will literally come up calories, carbs, fats, protein, number of like everything. So then if that's all that there, and then you can just go.
And with that though, things like your veggies, like these kind of veggies, just like have as much as you want. Have as much. Don't think about it. Don't go crazy. Just with veg, honestly, as much as you want with it. Don't be like, so obviously it adds calories. Like you might like put 50 or 100 aside there. But the reality is like to get like to eat even like this entire bag of spinach is pretty hard in one day. Right. So like and
Not potato and stuff.
No, not potato. So yeah, so obviously I'm
Green,
talking about like all veg, not sweet potato, not pumpkin. These are also
Even
earlier.
carrots a bit on the
Bit, yeah.
you know, but like the broccolis and the cauliflowers and the ones that most of us don't enjoy. I know, but they're really good at bulking out meals. So anytime that I've been like dieting, I've just swapped out the more calorie dense foods for heaps of veggies. Like I get these little 500-gram broccoli cauliflower frozen bags from Woolies or whatever, put them in the steamer. Then I put my meat sauce with that. You try eating 500 grams of broccoli cauliflower with steak, you end up so full. Now, I know no one wants to be sitting there eating that, but it's like if so people are dying of hunger, all of a sudden with a giant bowl of broccoli, that hunger dissipates.
It does. And if you have like, if you have something like I don't really like veggies, but like, I love like potatoes. So if I want to have like potato, like I just really like roast potatoes. So roast potatoes and like steak, but then I have all the other veggies with that. So I was like shoveling the veggies so they're gone, or like each bite of steak would have to have like 10 veggies so I can like help bring it down. And then you've got like best things left. You've got like potato and steak left.
Yes.
That's yum. So like eat the stuff you don't like first, get rid of it, and then you actually can like enjoy that little bit. You're full before you even get there. You know, so it's that. So yeah, so obviously we're talking about veggies. Veggies coming to carbs. So like as in some of them. So potatoes, they will come in here as here. So when talking about comes to fat, cut really with this one, much for much is what you want to pick. That's including like your veggies, like these kind of veggies, whatever you want to pick in there. So the rest of which is this bit here, what's left over. If you prefer higher fat foods, eat that. If you prefer higher carb foods, eat it. Just be aware that also is high fat foods have higher calories. Does not mean they're bad. They're so good for you. Nine. So carbs and protein are both 4 grams. You work this out. So 4 grams per 4 calories per 1 gram, where fat is 9, alcohol 7. So we're aware alcohol's up there. Alcohol has per gram more than carbs. If you want pasta or wine, pasta. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But yeah, so pretty much from now, obviously, because it's starting on Monday, if you guys like definitely want to start having a play around with this, hopefully you guys can start to do your shopping today and then have a play around, like see what your protein would look like, okay, what your meals potentially would look like. If you struggle doing a whole week, maybe you want to do the first 3 days. Obviously, if that works for you, then you can like go later in the week. Obviously, I know a lot of people are busy, but even if we can start to work this out today, we said it will take a little bit of time, but once you guys wrap your head around it, but as long as you guys can start that ASAP, so you can get it back to us if there are any questions, and we can get that back to you as soon as we can.
Quickly on that, as we talked about, this is technically option 1 and 2, where you're like working out calories, working out everything. Option 3, if you're like, I don't really want to do my calories, it comes in also we talked about here. It's just variety. So roughly knowing, okay, these are you might get your first couple unsteady portion sizes a little bit to be like, I need to have enough protein, and then just start to look at your plate and be like, is there a veggies, like what is there meat, like what's on my plate, how does it look, and then eat like that. And if you eat until you're kind of full, and we can just keep like checking and seeing how you're going, we would still kind of be, if you're eating all the vegetables and all your protein, you still will be in a deficit to be full. Like you'll stop being there. So you can still, if you don't want to count everything, you can do it without it. But I would still recommend just in week 1 or like a couple of days, just get a rough idea of what it looks like. And then, so like something like you, Jen, like you said, just maybe like get a little bag here. Oh, you can take these, take them home. Yeah, put them in a cup and then see how much in the cup that
We
looks like.
just Googled it, we think it is a cup.
I don't know, that rice definitely isn't a cup, I'm telling you right now. No, put it in a cup. I'm thinking about like a couple moments less.
Yeah, less.
Pasta maybe because pasta is bulkier, but the rice definitely is not. So just just pour them into, the little measuring cups, get home and pour them in. And then can you take a photo, Jet? Could you pour them in there, take a photo for me? And then we'll have a look. So this way, so if you want to do that, and then you know that for next time, that's 100 grams, you know it's 350 calories. You have a look next time, put it on, cool, you know what that looks like. And then if you kind of doubled it, you feel, you know what I mean? Like just that way. Once you kind of know it, you don't like weigh your food every time. You don't have to weigh. Even people that are doing
like I weigh things differently than me. Like, but once you've got your own little way, it's just like you've got it.
Yeah. And you kind of just like know roughly like, and it also comes down to the steak. Like if you're kind of like measuring, oh, I can have 120 grams of steak, and this is 170, just eat the fucking whole steak. Like don't kind of fill it in the bin. Just eat the steak. Like don't like be crazy about it. Like where you're like, oh, okay, it doesn't. And the steak again, but this steak might have more fat, and other bits might have no fat. So you're just throwing away some of your steak, and it would have been less calories because it's no fat in it. So just don't be a bit like, you can just have a piece of steak that you buy. Yeah, you can, But the easiest one of the things that come in bulk, like the chicken. That comes into kilos, pretty easy to buy like.
Cook it all up and just put in
And put it in containers.
5.
Yeah.
Even.
Which is 200 grams. So this obviously was 300 grams, so that would be 200 grams.
Yeah.
But that was like excessive.
Yeah, no, that was.
We did it on purpose to show you, so you don't have to like that's just showing
Yeah,
you.
that was just going overboard, showing like for a lot of people, if they are trying to lose a lot of body fat, especially, it's like I can't eat a lot.
But
It's
also
like,
take
you can eat a fucking
a
lot.
photo of this guys because you can make this into so many different meals. This can be wraps, this can be pastas, this can be like, do you know what I mean? Like, you could make that into so much variety. Do you know what I mean? You can swap out like the turkey, you swap out the meat for the chicken, like you could make it.
And it doesn't matter if you go over the protein, that doesn't matter.
No. So if you were meant to be like 140, you ate this and had 180, no. But you'd be like, I feel like you would be sick on this.
I don't know.
Yeah, so no, like you can, but it's like don't like you, and you probably can be like still like we're on the top end. So that's not even like 1.5 times your body weight to 2. It's still much on the higher end. So even if you're a bit lower than that, it's okay. But if you can hit your 2 quite easily, then hit your 2. But if you're under by a bit, it's more if you're like 1 times your body weight is quite low.
Yeah.
So
be aware of the calories, the effect on the calories as well. So more protein, fantastic. Just be aware, especially if your goals are orientated around weight loss and fat loss, that protein is still calories. Like when I was dieting, I said to my coach, like, sure, I can just have another shake. He's like, no, mate, because it was because of the calories. I was like, it's only going to help me. He's like, no. It's like even a shake, it's more calories than what me I personally was supposed to be having. So you just got to be conscious of the two and how they affect each other.
Yeah. And just things like that was a great one with the protein, which Coop said on Thursday, is that like, if you like feel like you can't get your protein in because you've got no calories left, then things like a protein shake is only like 120 calories versus 318 calories. I mean, obviously that's a hit protein, but it should be, you know what I mean? Like there's low calories in a protein shake and high protein. So there's just different things that you'd work it out that you kind of want to do. So yeah, I think that's really, any questions?
Very good, Mia. Very good.
And Darcy and Coops.
And sorry, just like we were saying, like, so Darcy and I, we have like our meals. We don't even start eating until say lunchtime. Right, the onus is on us now to spend that time, that little time we have to get our protein in. So just touching on those shakes. So something I do and something you have the ability to do, guys, is it's just like, so 1 scoop of protein in a shake, 25 grams of protein. You now got 50 grams of protein. You've got
200
for under 300 calories. And it's like, so if you're ever cutting it fine, just double up your scoop in your shake. It's just like, there's nothing wrong
People
with that.
don't like to eat like you.
There's
Very
absolutely
easy.
nothing
Just
wrong with that. So if you're ever cutting it fine and you're like, oh no, like I'm totally full, just double up your protein, and that's not a must for everyone, but just you have options.
Is there a brand of protein you recommend from like shops or not?
Well,
Like
we just get
One we get is a
Owen.
good one.
The one I just like it because you've got. All right, you just didn't order. There's one
But you
left.
don't do that. Place.
No, you can't. There's a plant-based plan there. Take it. Someone dropped it off. No one wants it. Have it. You go, yours. Like
What's
granulated.
the difference between plant-based and whey-based?
The good taste mainly. One's like
Yeah.
granulated and
Pea
disgusting.
protein.
Pea protein is like granulated, but normally there's like a lot of the pea protein now have the same amount of protein. It's just the way, this is where, I don't want to get too complicated, but the way it's absorbed in the body. So people always think like plant protein, oh my God, they say they're 20 grams. One is like excreted out, not digested, the other one's digested really well. So it just comes down to these things that it's kind of like people sometimes don't understand like digestion of food. So this is where you want to get also like really, if you're someone that's like really low in iron, for example, you want to have vitamin C because it really absorbs it. Where if you have too much calcium, it will help like stop the absorption of iron. So there's all these things that like are really complicated.
Or if you're
but-
lactose intolerant or something like that,
Yeah.
a whey may not be a great because it's got some.
Yeah. Or obviously if you're vegan or vegetarian
yeah.
as well, fair enough. But you said what? Well, vegan. Thank God, if you were vegan, you're out too.
I would make myself
No. So yeah, but you can have it. Take that. But we've still got. I think there's still one left over there. It's just got less preservatives, less crap in it. Like you'll never ever buy a protein from like Safeway.
Yeah, okay.
Just like the shittiest like gross ones. Gold standard is the only negative about that is made in America, not in Australia.
No, bulk insurance.
What is?
Yeah, that's where I get
Yeah.
everything from mine.
I like coconut oil as well.
Where do you go?
It's basic, it's a website.
Yeah.
I'll post it in the page for you guys.
They deliver overnight.
It's a no frills, no
Give bottom
bullshit,
line.
lots of options. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and it also some of you like want to try protein, like obviously like share a tub. And you can just like, you know, I don't even say if you wanted to, like if you weren't sure on it, but it lasts for like ever. Like it literally lasts for so long. And you can put in everything. You can make it in like, I don't know, like mixed muffins and stuff. You can make it in them, chuck in the oats, make it in your smoothies. Like you can kind of put
Makes
in
your smoothies so much
everything.
better, actually.
Oh my God, my
More-
smoothie's
more
so much
full.
better. It's like yum and like all like sweet. You're gonna get some bloody protein. Have you got some yet?
Yeah.
Good.
So that's what we're saying on
Carbs.
Thursday. If you're eating oats or you're making a smoothie and there's no protein content in that, again, you just consumed an entire meal and contributed nothing towards your daily protein intake.
And it would have been the easiest thing to add a scoop, would have tasted better. You would have felt fuller.
Yeah.
And you would have got your protein in there. And it's so sick. Like it doesn't really add like, yeah, especially like there's things where if you got a P1, you'd like taste it. Where the other ones are it's like chocolate milk. It's like chocolate milk. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, mine's
Yeah, it's
chocolate peanut butter
delicious.
flavour.
Oh yuck! That one's terrible.
It's not from bulk nutrients. It is the best tasting protein I've ever had. in my
I feel like
Delicious.
chocolate, chocolate and vanilla. You can't go wrong. You get like I get over like cookies and cream, and I just feel like sweet.
Nah, yeah.
But I was like chocolate and
It
vanilla.
tastes like a dessert. And that's the goal for all of you guys as well. To eat something healthy and be like, oh, it's so good. You know,
Yeah.
that's the goal. Like that's what you're looking for. And so we want that for you guys. We don't want you sitting there eating your meals going,
Yes, it's what you want to do. You don't
one
like
more
it.
bite to go. We don't want that for any of you guys.
And that's why I'm making that list of stuff, like making this exciting, making the things like who doesn't like burritos? Maybe like 2 minutes like burritos with sour cream and avo and like just account for the sour cream. You know what I mean? Like you can make things taste really good. It doesn't have to be boring, but just variety. That's what I want.
You can have yogurt for sour cream. It's like-
Yeah, but like the sour cream, you're not having the whole time.
Yeah.
So like, don't be like. That's when people like start to talk about too many things.
Yeah.
Versus like you don't need to actually like you can make it depends again on your calories. But if you've got some there, one little like a scoop of
Yeah.
sour cream each, it's not going to make like for a 25 calorie difference.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The other thing is just on the sweet food, like the chocolate and those kind of foods, is if you feel like chocolate, just be like mindful. Just say like, I know that's not really the caramel koalas. And I don't know what it is, but anyway. So the caramel koala, the big one, is like 35 grams versus like, you know, the block of it is like 50. So if you felt like it, you could just have like, there's less calories, you're still getting it in there. So you just like pick and choose different things. Or like things like caramello, so much like there's so much more sugar and so much more calories in caramello. So if you felt like chocolate, you just got like a plain one, there's gonna be less calories in that. So it's just like picking and choosing, like, you know, go to the supermarket and stand there and like look at the labels and like compare different things. So if you felt like it versus being like, you don't need to go to the weird health aisle and get that like no sugar chocolate because it's the same amount of calories. It's just like, so it's just like a gimmick. Versus if you felt like the chocolate, eat the chocolate. Don't forget like the 99% dark lint chocolate.
Oh, the best.
Oh, I hate it.
85%.
And 85%, it will
Real
generally,
powder.
just be mindful that 85% will sometimes can cause, especially Adam, constipation. It's really linked in there, in the constipation and the dark chocolate. So,
Can't say
be-
it's, you know.
so just, yeah, so like, but if you're having that, like, just to like curb a craving, like it's very different based on like what your goals are. But like, this is for a lot of you that said to me, this is long term, this is about living, then unless you're never going to eat chocolate again, why are you not having chocolate? Unless you're never going to drink wine again, why are you not having wine? Like, you need to do what works for you. Yeah? Long term, not short term. Oh, Cool, we good? You all are you gonna go on keto? We're gonna be there. So you give you an example. I'm not cutting out the very top groups.
You guys want to play around with that?
Okay, you're not doing it. I need variety. So much food to eat. I know, but I'm watching you. I don't want it. I want like you here. This is yours. What are you doing? What are you going to?
So shakes, you know, any way you can